Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Radio Hour. Let's do this. This thing on? It is. Look at that, folks. Thank you. We're working. The microphone's working. We can see it. See that little yellow thing moving there? That means we're working. So we're going to hide that now. Let's hide this thing. Ooh. All right. Oh, now we got to share that. We're going to share the video. There you go. Now I'm going to do this. There you go. All right. Welcome. Radio Hour, the brand new paranormal experience here on Rick's Realm. You're going to call in. You can call in or just hang out and listen to some paranormal stories from me or callers or guests or whoever wants to stop by and say hi. You can just call in. It's not just about paranormal experiences anymore, folks. Yeah, so anybody new, we got a few new people that subscribe, so thank you, and welcome to everyone who is returning. It's awesome. We hope to have this radio hour show here on Rick's Realm as a little gathering place of sorts for those who want to share their stories or even have no other place to do so, or experiences, I should say. I like to call them experiences because stories could be from like someone else, you know what I mean? I mean, it becomes a story when they tell it, but until they tell it to me, it's an experience. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. Is that weird? Yeah, sure. Why not? So with that in mind, yeah, we all know that there's something going on with whether it's UFOs, Bigfoots, ghosts, any type of cryptid, whatever. And people are seeing them, experiencing them, whatever it is, and they need a place to come and talk about it, or they want to talk about it, or they love talking about it, or they have no one else to talk to about it. So let's make this that place, folks. Come on, hang out, tell your stories. Um, yeah, that's it. What else do you want? What else do you want from me? A show, maybe? All right, well, we'll do that. So what I like to do, I know we just started this thing this week, and I know it's going to take a while to get the word out there. And I've reached out to several people in other groups and stuff like that, paranormal groups, online chats, and all that stuff. And I got a really good response. Within one day, we got 14 people that want to come on and talk about their experiences. So if you're listening now and you're one of those 14, come on. I'm going to put the link up in the chat room real soon. How that works is I put your link up. This is an audio only show, so for a split second while we try to hide you, your little icon will pop up. But fear not, if you want to remain anonymous, that's okay. Because before I even do that, I hit the little camera icon to blacken your screen, so there will be no fear of being on camera if you're camera shy or whatnot like that. And don't worry about that stuff, folks. So, this is an audio only. That's why we're called Radio Hour, because it's a radio show. You sit back and relax. And for those of you who like to have something to look at, because it is YouTube after all, you have your nice little video playing on the background. For instance, look at that. Call in with your paranormal experiences and stories, folks. I actually changed this. So this one that you're seeing now on the screen is going to be completely different. So it's a little nicer. So that's the gist of it. We've got Dark Hour Paranormal, Big Cat, first one in the house tonight, wreaking havoc in our live chat room over on YouTube. If you're watching this, you're only watching this on YouTube. So hit that little chat box down below and go and see those people. They are really cool. I know some of them, and I don't know some of them. And I have no idea who the rest of them are either. So get over there, meet some new friends. That's what this is all about, sharing your stories, your experiences. Maybe you have a thought on or a theory on why there is paranormal experiences of all sorts, UFOs, Bigfoots, aliens. Maybe you've had one. Maybe you've seen one. You know what I really want to know? I want to talk to somebody tonight, if you can, and I'm not limiting it to this specifically, but I want to talk to somebody who has met an alien, like face to face. Not in the dream. I mean, dreams, if I'm not putting anyone down for any way, that they met them. Oh, that brings me to this is a judgment-free show. Feel free to call. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm here to listen to your story. I give you the platform to come on and tell your story, and I'm not going to sit here and judge you. I'm really interested actually in what you're hearing to have to say, because a lot of this is a learning experience for me, and a lot of other people out there too might be new to this. So, yeah, come on without fear of that, please. I didn't say that earlier, but that's a big thing here. You know what I mean? So if you've met an alien, or maybe you've contacted, like, maybe you're in contact with one, you know what I mean? Like you have some way of contacting them, and they come and you're like, hey, what's up? No, you know what I mean? Not like that, but um, that would be really cool. First of all, too, though, well, should I say second of all now? um, yeah, I would definitely freak out. Some of these experiences that some of you folks have out there are amazing to me, and I already know, like, I'm squeamish over like a dirty toilet, So to have one of these experiences, I would definitely have at least a mild heart attack. Whether it be UFO, Bigfoot, alien. I remember one day I saw what I thought was a UFO, and I even had I was freaking out just about that. And I honestly, I think it was like a blimp or something, like real low to the ground. But anyways, yeah, let's get this going here. We got last night. I have to apologize because last night I shared some stories, and I never put the links in the description. So what I will do tonight, and I promise on everything, holy. Ooh, I just burped. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. Terrible host. What I will do for you is get really close to the mic and promise you that I will have these story links in the description because it's a really important part of it that these people are asking for someone who's had this similar experience or has heard of it and has information on it and can help them. So for me not to put the links in there, it's just that's a huge part of it, and I apologize. So we will get these links into the description for this show. I just don't like to put them in there before, because I don't want to give away what we're going to be talking about. I like to have that little element of surprise. So as soon as this is done, I'll just copy and paste it. I swear it'll be the first thing we do. So let me go to my little storybook here of experiences. We have ghost stories tonight, paranormal experiences, glitches in the Matrix, and what else? I think I have one more. Hold on. I got a little list here for you. I come up with a little list. All right, folks. I like to do a little research and I make a little list. And where is it? And I lose it. I lose it immediately. I make a list and lose it. Here we go. Where is it? Is that it? Nope. It's just a good. Folks, I found the list. All right. So we have alien-related stories, which are UFO ones. Well, I told one last night about the hyperspace, so that link will be in the chat room. I mean, in the description of tonight's video. Okay, that's the one where the UFO enters hyperspace. And then I also had the one of What Did I See, which is the egg-shaped UFO, which was out in the middle of a field and just took off straight up in the air and then shot off, to the west. So I did tell those two stories and forgot to. So what I'm going to do tonight is probably read a few more of these, and then I'll just copy and paste the links for you guys into that description. So if you've had these experiences or seen these things, please reach out to these people. Hit that link. It'll bring you right to their post. You don't have to go searching for anything. And boom, you can connect with them right away. All right? We'll break a new ground here in Rick's Realm. Connecting people. This is like the Grand Central Station for all things paranormal. You come here, boom, 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 then you're off onto your next thing. You know what I mean? Come on, let's do it. It's the grand, isn't it? My catchphrase, the Grand Central Station of the paranormal. Oh, that's terrible. All right. We have got. Oh, you know what? I didn't read this is really short. This one is the Ghost Baby. I didn't. I read this last night. I did two shows. The first one was a 30-minute show with no audio, and I sat here and talked for 30 minutes. And God bless all of you who hung out in that chat room for 30 minutes and didn't hear anything. I don't know how you did that. I would have unsubscribed. I would have deleted my YouTube account and then throw my phone out the window if that happened. I'd have no idea how you guys did that. Thank you. But that video got deleted. And we started fresh. So there is a new video from last night if you missed that. I know a lot of you guys are in the chat room and we're here talking in the chat room and for 30 minutes. And then I didn't see some of yous when we came back. A few of yous, I got Game Vet was back in there, Miss Tina. They all came back over. They actually called in and shared some of the more stories here. So definitely check out that video. So last night, as I was mentioning, the first video got deleted, but I did tell this little quick story about the ghost baby, and this is creepy. I mean, it could be like premonition of. Let me just read the story. I'll stop. Yeah, you guys help me decide here, okay? It's just real quick. We're just gonna do it. It's called really, really weird dreams. Please help. Okay, so this link will be in the description, you guys. If you've had this, maybe you want to talk to this person, you've had this, I don't know, or you've heard of this. Last night, I went to bed as normal next to my boyfriend. Partway through the night, I woke up and in the midst of a dream, thought I saw a baby sleeping between my boyfriend and I. I just accepted it because I was sleepy and fell back into sleep while being somewhat aware of this baby sleeping between us. Woke up in the morning and forgot about it until I was doing my morning routine and remembered I mentioned it to my boyfriend and he dreamt the exact same thing. A baby sleeping between us had disturbed his sleep, but he had continued sleeping and remained semi-aware of it. How the heck did we dream something so specific at the same time? We do want kids, but we haven't spoken about it recently and definitely not last night. Any thoughts on this? All right. So that's creepy right there. Just to have the same dream as someone else is creepy alone, and then you put a baby in the middle, like a little ghost baby. So um, that could be, the case of where it's a premonition that they're having of uh, maybe having a child together, something like that. But then you have to think, what would be putting that there? Is that their own mind creating that, or is that a spiritual thing with a religious background, or so it doesn't have to be creepy right away. It could be something of love and like a new start, new creation, life. So, but any help, this link will be in there. This title of this story is Ghost Baby or Weird Dream Help. Okay, I like to find these little stories that people are asking for help because you know what I mean. They have nowhere else to go. They're asking the world. They're posting online, so they're asking the world. Somebody, please help them. So if you have any thoughts on that one, I just had to share that really quick. That was just a quick little doohickey, but what do we got thoughts? Any thoughts? Let me put the link in the live chat if anybody wanted to come on and talk because you can only listen to me so much. Um, even myself, I can't even listen to myself. Frapsap's in our live YouTube chat room. Welcome, Frapsap. Thank you for coming. All right, so let us get this link in here. All right, we'll put it in. Also, if you do come on, please have headphones on or turn down your speakers because it's terrible. The feedback is yeah, it's just not a good experience for you. Everybody knows that. I shouldn't even have to tell you guys. Come on, what am I doing? You've all known what it sounds like when you turn on that thing. You're like, "Hello, welcome to the show," and then you hear, "Hello, welcome to the show" in the background. Just make sure, okay? I forgot to mention that at all my previous other shows. I mean, I don't want to be rude to anybody, so I'm not gonna like yell at you. Um, but I will kindly ask you to turn it down if that happens. So, we did pretty good last night with it. So. Oh, Miss Tina. Speaking of feedback, no, I'm just joking. Miss Tina called in last night and shared a little something. So you'll have to go back and watch the videos. That's how I get my views, folks. So let's put that in the chat room. You can come on and talk about anything you want. I do have some more stories lined up for you guys. So please, when you're listening to the stories, take into consideration. I mean, I don't know how true these are, but these are people asking for help. So if you know what I mean? If you're going to put up a fake story, unless you just want some, attention, I don't think you're going to be asking people for help. So let's just assume that they're true and that they want the help. And if you have any answers to these things or whatnot, then definitely help out where you can. All right, our next story here, folks. Let's go down to a slip in the matrix stories. All right. And everybody's familiar with the matrix theory where we all just live in a simulation and none of this is real. Okay? So, with that and said, these stories would be considered something that these people witnessed, obviously, that made them think that we're in a simulation. Okay, so let's hear this first one. And this will be in the description. All right, thank you. So you just click on this one's called, let's see, which one are we gonna start with? All right, this one looks cool. My car disappeared into thin air. Let's check this out, folks. I haven't heard a Matrix story of things disappearing in thin air. Is anybody else? I don't know. Let's see. Okay. So this is a short one. Hello, this is my first time posting here or sharing this story. This happened while on a road trip where a friend and I were coming back to Toronto from Montreal. It was around 1 a.m. and we were just talking and enjoying the road trip when we saw a car in front of us, around 40 to 50 meters in front of us. It was looking like a 60s Malibu or something like that, and I didn't have any lights. It didn't have any lights. We both saw the car, and I told my friend, "Hey man, this guy is crazy. How come you can drive on the highway at night without any lights?" My friend said the same thing. 10 seconds later, the car completely disappeared while we were still looking at it. There was no side road, nothing, just vanished. My friend told me, "What the F did I just see?" Or did you just see that? We both were kind of in shock, but we just kept driving. To this day, we cannot find any logical explanation to what we saw. We were not drinking or anything like that. Wow. I mean, that could be interdimensional. It slipped into another dimension, or it could be, part of the Matrix theory. We're in just a simulation. It was coming back. But I've heard stories of, things from the past, or people, or things, or events from the past happening in the present, and then just disappearing, just coming on for a few seconds. I mean, when you think about it, folks, there's so much that we don't know about, like, what's going on with everything. It's like, oh, so I mean, this could be anything. But you hear a lot about these disappearances of the suddenly, a person just disappeared. I haven't heard of a car disappearing in front of somebody, but wow, yeah, maybe if it's like a '60s car from the '60s, maybe it came from another time and just it was driving through, and at that exact moment where it was, like something happened with our magnetic field on Earth, and it just transported. There's so much we just don't. There's so much we don't know as humanity, and there's even way more that I don't know on top of that. So this is just a lost cause, then, right? Oh gosh. So has anybody, if you're watching live, let us know in the chat room if you've ever seen anything disappear right in front of you. If you're watching this after it's live, you can leave that in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. All right. That is creepy. That's called "Car Disappeared into Thin Air." That will be in the description box. You guys, if you heard something like that, maybe you want to get over there and chit chat. All right, that was pretty crazy. Let's go. I haven't read this story, but it's from the Glitch in the Matrix little series that we're doing here. And it is called "That's Odd. I Should Have Died by Now." Oh boy. All right, so this is Glitch in the Matrix. Let's see. Let's open this one up. And that was the same exact one that I just. Hold on here, folks. Yeah, bear with me. Oh, okay. Here we go. So this one is titled "That's Odd. I Should Have Died by Now." And it's pretty popular on this thread here. So let's get into this one right now. First time posting here. Although, hold on 1 second. Sorry, folks. I just had a little interruption. I don't have a sound on, so if somebody does join, I will not know because I shut off the voice to text thing. So I'm putting the link in the chat room if you want to come on and say something. Please do, because that's what this is all about, folks. Coming on and saying something. Oh, hold on. We got somebody coming on to say something here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second there, caller. I'm just gonna block out your screen for everybody because we're audio only. Just in case anybody didn't want any, things shown. Audio only, just in case anybody didn't want. We could just ask to lower your stereo there, speakers. Anybody didn't want. We could just ask to lower your stereo there, speakers. Anybody didn't want.
Have a camera.
Lower your stereo. Getting a lot of.
Yeah. Never come on.
All right, we're just gonna have to. I'm sorry, I have to mute you there. Supernatural story. If you could just lower your speakers for. I'm just getting terrible feedback for 1 second. I'm just gonna check on.
I'm getting there.
Oh.
We got it. I hear you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Is
How
this
you
better?
doing tonight? Yes, sir.
Hi. How you doing tonight, Rick's Realm?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. This is a post Halloween call, and I know that most people are only interested in things like the paranormal topics, paranormal subjects around Halloween time, and then they lose interest. You know, the year goes along, and then they're ready for Thanksgiving. They want to think about turkeys and turkey, and Squanto, and right, and pilgrims, and that's fine, and that's all well and good, and I agree with that. But some of us, the paranormal, it touches our lives, and we can't just forget about it that rapidly, you know.
Right.
Me, for example, that's why I'm calling in. I got my own paranormal. I got so many paranormal stories. I could fill up probably the head of a pin on it, and I got friends also. Like the RAM devices on a computer where you can fit 1,000,000 megabytes of information on the head of the pin, something like that, or a thousand angels dance on the head of the pin, something like that. So 1,000, you know what I mean? 1,000 stories. I don't know where to begin. It's so scary, the unknown, because you just don't know what you're going to be dealing with next, and anything can be around the corner.
Right. That's the amazing part of it, especially doing a show like this where I don't know who's going to be calling in with which story next. So it's the exact same feeling that you get too with all of the paranormal. So yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Rick, I got a story. I got a story for you for myself, and I don't know if this is called necessarily a scary story, but this is definitely a paranormal story, and it has to do with my girlfriend and me. And this happened about 6 years ago, and I was with her, and she's very, very, very psychic. She is like if you would think of an old gypsy woman who does tea leaf readings, like a soothsayer or a prestidigitator of some kind of an, but she has the gift, and I know that I back her up on everything. But when this happened, my jaw hit the floor, and I had to say, okay, there's some kind of a parallel existence here where supernatural things happen. We were at a restaurant. We were at the Sylvan Street Grill in Peabody, our favorite restaurant that I took her to, and like I said, 5 years ago. And we ordered dinner, and we come over, and the server, is a very nice, also a waitress, and she comes over to help us and everything. And all of a sudden, we order drinks and stuff, and I would think we just have a relaxing evening together. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Lori goes over to me, and she says, "Do you smell that?" And I took a deep whiff, I took a deep breath, and I couldn't smell anything. And I said, "Lori, what are you talking about?" And she says, "I smell incense." And I said, "Okay, I don't smell it, but," and she goes, "Can they even light incense in here, being that it's a restaurant?" And I said, I think you're right. I don't think they are allowed to light incense off in a restaurant. I think it's probably illegal, or something, by some health code or restaurant code. And so we sat there, and we probably had our appetizer, and then the waitress came over again, and I said, "Excuse me, did anyone light incense at all?" in the restaurant, maybe back in the bar somewhere, because my girlfriend smelled something. And she said, no, no, not at all. We don't do that here. So I looked at Lori and I said, okay, thank you. And I looked at Lori and I said, honey, really, no one has lit any incense, and I don't know what you're smelling, because I didn't smell it. And but I had an inkling of something about Lori, because I already knew she was psychic. Okay, I already knew she had the gift, and I said to her, you know what, honey, I think that you are smelling something that will happen in the future. It's almost like people have the psychic gift of clairvoyance, where they can see into the future, and some people have the psychic gift, Rick, of clairaudience, where they can
Right.
hear something that may be a sound or something in the future.
Right.
I think she had this power at this time. It manifested itself where she smelled the future. I just got this inkling as I'm sitting across from her at the Sylvan Street Grill. And I said, Lori, honey, I think, you know what I think? There's no incense here now. I think that you're smelling the future, and you're probably smelling, because we had plans to go from there to visit Tom and his girlfriend in Salem, Massachusetts later that night, and we were going. That was our plan. And I said, "Honey, what you're doing is," and those are friends of hers, and I didn't know where it was. I had a GPS, and we met them. But I said, "Honey, you're probably smelling the future. You're probably smelling. They'll have incense there, and that will be, off my head. I couldn't think of what else. And then
Right.
we ate dinner. We had our main course. I had probably a steak and probably a Cobb salad or something, a little blue cheese and a little iceberg lettuce and some bacon or whatever, and a beer back then. And but I wasn't too messed up to drive or anything. And this is not a drug story like I think maybe it's one of us was tripping or something. No,
Right.
this is what happened. Okay,
Mhm.
Rick. Now we left the restaurant and we drive over to Salem, Mass. And of course, Salem, Mass, with the witches and all the, I'm from Massachusetts, but even still, you go to Salem and you always, in the back of your mind, it's witchcraft, it's witchcrafty. And so I found a parking space over by this big giant elm tree, and we walked over. We couldn't find it. I'd never been there, and I needed a flashlight, and I remember I couldn't find. And then finally, Tom's like, from the second story, he's like, "We're over here." So we go over, and he welcomes us in. We go in the front door. Me and Lori, we sit down. They have a couple of beers for us. They give us some beers. They're watching the Bruins game on TV, watching a little hockey, and all of a sudden, what's her name? Terry,
Yeah.
Tom's girlfriend. She gets up and she goes, "I'm going to go light a punk in the kitchen."
Oh
And
wow.
I said, what do you mean a punk? And she goes, I mean, you like incense? And she says, yeah. And I said, well, that's funny because Lori thought she smelled incense at the restaurant, and I wonder if that. And so she did. She went in the kitchen. She lit a punk. Okay, that she called it. I
Mhm.
don't call it a punk. I don't know, but so it was weird. And then I said, Lori, go in the kitchen there with Terry and try to tell me if that is what you smelled at the restaurant. And Lori got up. We smoked a joint, I think. We were having beers. We were watching hockey, me and Tom. And then she got up. She went in the kitchen and she said, yep, that's it. That's the what
Wow.
I smelled. And I said, oh, ha ha, very funny. I said, wait a minute, you're pulling the wool over my eyes. You're trying to say, you planned this. You planned this, I said to her. And, you made this up like between you two, Terry and Lori, I thought. The two girls had made up this phony story about the incense.
Right.
And then I thought, wait a minute, no. I said, no, it was me. I was the one who said, you're smelling the future. Tonight, later at Terry's, you're going to smell. And so that proved to me psychic, experience.
Right, and that was part of her foreseeing of the future was that smell. Yep. Right. That's crazy, man.
And I wasn't in on it. I was not in on it. You know what I mean? I thought they were trying to trick me and pretend like there was no incense and she smelled it, that they got. But no, because if I hadn't said anything, it would have died there. But I was
Right.
the one that said, "You're smelling the future." And short a while later, we went to Salem and she smelled the
And then
incense.
there
So
there it
that's my
is.
story, Rick.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
That's all I got for you.
That's all right. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on and sharing.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
All right. Anything else you got to add or?
Well, in the future, yeah,
All
plenty.
right. Definitely. We look forward to it, man.
In the future, yeah. Okay, have a good night, Rick, and
You
your viewers.
you too, sir. Thank you. You have a good night. You get a little applause on the way out. There you go. Yeah, we got a live studio audience here right behind me. They sit here all night. They're actually pretty sad that I cut my ponytail off, but we'll get into that another night. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Supernatural Stories. Let's take this. He was just on the air. He's no longer on the air. This is me on the air now. So now you got to listen to me yap some longer. Oh, I mean, right there is going to show you that, you had the maybe you had the premonition and that triggered it. You know what I mean? Her having that could be a possibility where her having that experience and just mentioning it to you triggered you to have that experience. You know what no, does that make sense? No. Okay. All right. So let's put this link back in here. We get plenty of time here. We're going to do 1 hour tonight. Okay. Because I am going to be here a lot. All right. I'm going to be doing this a lot. We're getting this word out. So I don't want to get burnt out and be doing 2 hours every night on it. Not burnt out like, exhausted from sitting here, but just I want to, you got to have that time where you can just be like, ooh, actually, no, you know what I mean? For me, it's like, I just always want to be doing something, but I have to like force myself to like take a break sometimes. It's weird. I'm always like, I can't relax lately, but those are stories for another day, folks. It's probably all the coffee that I consume. It's just, I should be arrested, you know. So let's get this link into our chat room. Did I put it in there? No, I didn't. And we will see if anyone else has another story like that. Have you ever smelt something and then later on smelt that same thing as part of a future experience? Let us know. Let us know, will you? Please. I think that might be the first time I've heard of someone smelling something as a premonition, of the future, where usually they're having a vision or they can feel something, like a draft or a heat or a cold or, um, but to have the smell, usually it's associated, as far as I've heard, it's only associated with, that smell would, maybe the spirit had a strong perfume but it was something, in the present time that they're smelling, not for related to a future event, which is really cool. So, I mean, that's a unique connection right there, folks. It's just another level of what's going on. Like, what is going on? Let's find out. Let's get some more information and some more things because I'm sure. Well, for as far as I go, I haven't heard half of this stuff. About percentage of it, and um, I'm just sure there's so much more. And there's got to be like a way to connect all this. Like, oh gosh, hopefully this will be the avenue for that. I mean, because you have these unique stories, and they, you hear every time you hear a unique story, it's like, what? How is that even possible? And there's like very little to do, sometimes you hear things that have very little to do with anything else before the, paranormal. You're just like, whoa, what? Hold on. I wasn't expecting that. So it's just like, oh. And do the stories get weirder or is there just more internet now? You know what I mean? Are there more stories or are there just more internet? That's what I want to know. Is there like, oh, it's just, there's so much going on. Let's read another little story here for you. Let's go skip to paranormal encounter. This is a walking invisible entity or being. Okay. So if you have any information and you want to, ooh, there's our lightning that I forgot to edit out my movie. All right. Oh, did I ever? I never read that story. Oh, because we had the guest call in. Sorry. Oh boy. All right. So I never read this one. The one about that's odd. I should have died by now. So let's read this one. This comes under the glitch in the matrix category for tonight. Okay, let me get a little sip here. Get a part. All right. First time posting here. Although a couple of glitchy things have happened to me over the years, there is one experience that gives me chills to remember it. I was driving home from work, rural back roads in the UK where the banks and hedges along the side of the narrow roads make it hard to see around the corners. And there's a lot of corners. But I knew the road well and I drove it every day. Totally normal day, probably driving a tad too fast. I was young, foolish, in a rush to get home, and I looked down at the clock on the dash to see what time it was. As I look at the time, my own voice in my head speaks clear as a bell. That's odd. I should have died by now. I'm shocked by the thought. So odd, so loud, so clear. Weirdest thought I've ever had. I'm a little freaked out by the thought, and whilst distracted, I noticeably slow down, maybe from 50 miles an hour to 30. I approach the next bend in the road. Suddenly, as I turn, I can see the road beyond the corner, and there's a massive tractor carrying hay bales on the front, and right in front of me, it's swerving into the bank on my side of the road. I slam on my brakes. I stop maybe a foot from the tractor, which has now impaled itself into the bank and is totally stationary. I have no doubt had I not slowed significantly just before the bend, had I still been driving a little too fast on the road, I would have been smashed straight into it. Worse, perhaps I would have been caught between the tractor and the bank, which an angle would have been a no-brainer ending. I have no idea what put that thought in my head or why it was so loud and clear, but I'm pretty pleased in listening to it. Oh, we got an update actually on this post. Wow, wrote a post, enjoyed reading a handful of your comments. Woke up this morning to more notifications than I've ever seen. So they got a lot of replies. Um, well, this fits into that category for me, at least. Of premonitions. You have that premonition, and luckily it came to him right in time. Saved his life. This happens a lot. I mean, how many stories have you heard over the years? Where um, you're just saved by something in the nick of time. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, what is that? Let's figure this out, folks. Come on. All right. That's creepy. That story will be in the description of the video after the fact. But is anybody else out there, if you're listening live in the chat room, have you guys ever had a little voice in your head tell you something and then it turned out that it saved your life? Let us know. If you're listening, if you're watching this after we've broadcast, you can put it down in the chat room when you're down there looking for this link. Let them know, folks. Come on. All right. Next, we got. I think we're gonna skip down to. Ooh. Let's go into the animal world. where this person has had weird dog appearances throughout the years. Okay, let's read this story tonight. Ooh. Creepy animal stories and then creepy like stories with children in them. It's like that always gets me. All right. Weird dog appearances throughout the years. Note, I personally don't believe in werewolves and I'm highly confident this wasn't that. When I was about 13 years old, my older brother, 15 at the time, his best friend R, we'll call him R, and I were hanging out at R's house, which was on the adjacent corner to our house. We hung out until nightfall around 11 p.m. My brother and I decided it was time to go home. R decided he would walk us. We crossed the street and reached the alley, which splits the block right in the middle. We looked right and then we looked left before crossing because cars or people would come out of them. When we looked left back to R's block alley, I heard, "What the hell is that?" coming from R. I knew then we were all seeing the same thing. At the end of the alley stood a black, almost smoke-like, but rigid figure that was about 3 or 4 times bigger than an average dog. The only solid part of the figure was its bright red eyes. It stood there moving, but in an intimidating stance. We all got creeped out and walked faster, my house being a house away. We all got inside the gate as fast as we could. In the time it took us to turn around to close the latch on the gate, we noticed the dog figure across the street in between cars like it was following us. We all ran to the porch where the light was on, and in the blink of an eye, the figure in front of our house, hiding behind another car. In a blink of an eye, the figure was in front of our house, hiding behind another car. We stood there horrified. Our fence was small enough for it to jump as it stood 3 feet tall. That was the fence stood 3 feet tall, so it jumped right over it. Several minutes had gone by. When ours porch light turned on, his mum stood at the door, which meant it was time for him to go home. We all looked back at where the figure stood, but it appeared to be gone. We all stepped outside together. We looked around for signs of the dog. Nothing. R ran home, and we were all puzzled by what we saw, but never spoke to anyone about it because we know no one would believe us. Over the years, while would have get together or parties, our friends and family would go to the alley to urinate or for a smoke break, and would come back freaked out and described a ghostly dog figure with red eyes. As an adult, I'd chuckle and say, I know what you're talking about. I've seen it too, but I don't know what it is. They would look at me. I was teasing them, not knowing I've seen it twice. Once that night with my brother, and again I walked home from the bus stop from my night class in college years later. I went to visit my parents this weekend, and my boyfriend brought up the time he saw it come out of the alley about the same time last year while we were waiting for me one night. I never told him about it. All right, so he saw it coming out of the alley one night and just told her the story about a year ago, and she's never told him the story about the dog. So this is 3 or 4 times the size of an average dog, red eyes. All right, but did they see it as a ghost before? Because he said ghostly figure after. I don't know if it was a ghostly dog following him. Hmm. Strange, folks. That sounds like a werewolf to me with the red eyes, big or dog man. Is that what that is? That other creature there is a dog man, but doesn't that stand up straight? I believe. I don't know. Oh, someone tell me, folks. We're all here to learn, right? Help each other learn. So if anybody's seen that, please. They don't tell you where. Like, I'd like to know, like, at least the state that they're in. Some of these stories. That way we could be like, hey, is anybody from this part of the country or world or whatever? Have they seen anything like that? All right. Ooh, what is this one? Oh, that one is. Oh, this one. Did I read this one yet? No. Remember, folks, if you want to join in, we got Anti-Media Zombie. Anti-media zombie, what's up? Goof on, ayo! How you doing? All right, everybody in the chat room. We're throwing the link up, and if you want to come on, tell us a story. Let's go. What do we got? I'm going to read one for you here. This one is, bear with me. I really have to go to the restroom. I just thought I'd tell you that. All right, this is going to be our last story for the night, and if we don't get a caller after that, we'll be ending shortly after that, but that's okay because we will be back. All right, this one is someone asking for help. It's posted a day ago, and it's a dream encounter, okay? And they're asking for help. And let's see what the story is. Maybe one of you guys have some answers for them. All right. And what did I just do with it? Here we go. Yeah, I just lost it again, you know? All right. I have so many things open right now. Here we go, folks. Dream encounter. I had this dream and I don't know what it means. Can someone please help me? This was a while back, but over the years I've seen this type of entity in my dreams. Basically, the dream starts with me and another friend of mine waiting for a third friend under his house. It's weird because I dislike the third guy. I decided to leave, but the first guy follows, so I suggest we go to a bakery. Except when we arrive, it's actually his hotel type thing. It's a huge building, and there's nobody inside minus one old man who I instantly know to be the owner. I can never directly look at this person for some reason. Like, I specifically remember it was just impossible to. Anyway, long story short, after wandering around the empty structure, we came across a door labeled Paresk. I don't want to ruin the word here in case this is an important part of the story. Paraskevi, okay, which is a common name and also Friday in Greek, but also the name of a saint. Apparently, to enter, you needed to pay money, but I was broke. For some reason, we decided that the food was behind that door, so my friend entered with his coin. But before I could do anything, the owner guy grabbed me out of nowhere. I remember being terrified because he kept saying I should never do that and that is not too late to fix my mistakes, etc. At that point, I realized it was a dream, so I was able to just sort of phase through the door. It was completely pitch black and extremely dreadful. I don't know how to describe it. To be there. I kept walking until suddenly I realized it wasn't actually dark, but rather it was a packed. Wait, hold on. I kept walking until suddenly I realized it wasn't actually dark, but rather it was packed full of these guys dressed in all black with their heads wrapped in cloth. Oh, God. Then they all circle me and start chanting something. I woke up, except I didn't fully, and one of these same things was right next to me, still doing the chant in sleep paralysis. It ended, and eventually I woke up. Previously, it was suggested that the owner signified Saint Paraveschi of Rome, patron saint of the blind. I don't think so. The owner entity had never reappeared in my dreams. The shadow entity was suggested to be Emperor Antoninus Pius, who sentenced his saint to death in a kettle of tar and oil. Ooh. She came out unscathed and threw the tar on the emperor's face, which is why those entities had bandages. Ooh, this makes some sense. But why would there be multiple, and why does this creature keep appearing in my dreams, sometimes in the background? Can anyone identify this being? So are they the being? Are they talking about the robed figures or the old man? I can't figure that one out, but has anybody had that? I mean, robed figures with bandages wrapped around their face? All I can think of is the Silent Hill series where you have the nurse Cratchit there with the bandages on her face. But I'm not quite sure if they're talking about the old man or the robed figures, but I'm going to assume the robed figures. If anybody else had that, let us know in the comments or the little box down below in the chat room. You can come into the Blues Chicken Chat. Come on in. It's fun. All right. What else was? Um. Hmm. I guess that's it then. Yeah, we got 55 minutes. Pretty cool. We had another great caller. Thank you for calling in and share your stories. As you said, you've had more to call in. That was Supernatural Stories who called in earlier. Give it up for them. Yeah. And yeah, well, that's it for tonight. I guess we'll wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody for coming out and hanging out in the chat room live on YouTube. And if you're not watching, thanks for taking the time to watch after we ended this stream. I don't have my little my exit music here. I don't have it lined up for you guys, but that's all right. I can sing for you. Um, we will be back tomorrow. I have to get in touch with these people here. I'm looking at them now. Hold on. I have a group here. What's the name of it? Oh, it's a paranormal group on YouTube. He's a little bit. What is it? 1, 2, 3. Where is he? I don't know. I can't find it, but I don't want to take up your time. Listen, I gotta get a hold of these. What is it called? Paranormal Encounters. I don't think that's the name of the group. The video, the YouTube group. I can't find it. All right, well, I'll look at it another. I'll try to find it, but I got in touch with this gentleman, and then another gentleman directed me over to this other group, which does a similar thing here. So we're gonna try to collaborate on that, and maybe I'll be doing some cross streaming with them. They'll be over here, I'll be over there, and we'll see how that goes. And then also, I gotta get in touch with. I got 1, 2, 3, 14 people here that want to come on and talk about their stories. So I didn't. I told them the time, but it wasn't short notice with this. But that's why we're going to be running this for a while, most nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, just to get that word out there. And then I'll figure out a schedule when it comes out in the future. We'll work on that. But this is all new. It's all a learning and growing experience, and I hope everyone has a good time. We'll have this little spot to come hang out, share your thoughts, stories, and experiences. And yeah, and next show I'll have some exit music for you guys too. We'll have a little exit soundtrack. All right. So you guys take care of yourselves. We have Mr. Goof on in the chat room tonight. You go check out his show. I believe he's got a premiere on tonight, right? Is it Bigfoot documentary I saw? That's awesome. All right. Well, get over there, Goof on. You can check him out on YouTube. Go and like and subscribe to him and get over there for the Bigfoot documentary. All right. With that being said, we will see you guys next time here on Radio Hour. Tell your friends, tell your brothers, tell your sisters, and tell your lovers. I can't use that. That's actually a phrase from another podcast, so I'm not going to use that. But yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys, for showing up. It means a lot. The more people we get here, the more stories we'll have and experiences that can be shared and start connecting. And maybe we'll start figuring something. If we could figure out one thing in this paranormal world, you know what I mean? It would be great. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do it sitting here in front of, from my house, but these are things you got to get on the field for. But just to have that, even if it's like, that stepping stone of, all right, now we know it, maybe it's just going to be this one thing. That would be cool. But until then, let's enjoy the ride and let's share our stories and be friends and have a big group hug. All right. You guys take care of yourselves. We will see you next time here on Radio Hour, only on Rick's Realm on YouTube. That's right. That's the only place we are. All right. Take care, guys. Have a good night.